a blockchain that went from zero to $260 billion in 18 months, then lost 95% of its value in a single year, taking down crypto billionaires and almost breaking the entire cryptocurrency industry. This is the absolutely insane rise and fall of Solana.
On Solana.
What's up, crypto fam? Today we're diving into what might be the most wild and dramatic story in all of cryptocurrency history. We're talking about a blockchain that literally went from being worth nothing to being the fourth largest cryptocurrency in the world, only to crash so hard it took down billionaires with it. So grab some popcorn, because this roller coaster is about to begin. Chapter 1. The Humble Beginnings. Let's start at the beginning. Picture this. It's 2017, and Anatoly Yakovenko, a former Qualcomm and Dropbox engineer, is looking at the crypto landscape and seeing a massive problem. Bitcoin could handle 7 transactions per second. 7. Ethereum wasn't much better at around 15 transactions per second. Meanwhile, traditional payment systems like Visa were processing thousands of transactions per second. So Anatoly had this crazy idea. What if we could build a blockchain that was actually fast? Not just a little bit faster, but thousands of times faster. The breakthrough came when he figured out something called proof of history, basically giving the blockchain a really accurate clock so it doesn't waste time arguing about what happened when. This allowed Solana to theoretically handle 50,000 transactions per second. By 2018, he co-founded Solana Labs with Raj Gokal and Greg Fitzgerald. They raised $3.2 million in their seed round. At this point, most people had never heard of Solana. It was just another blockchain project trying to be an Ethereum killer. But here's what made Solana different. Transaction fees of fractions of cents compared to Ethereum's $50 to $100 fees. It wasn't just faster, it was practically free to use. Chapter 2. The Breakthrough Moment. Fast forward to 2020, and something magical started happening. While most of the crypto world was focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum, smart developers started noticing Solana. The first big catalyst? NFTs. Remember when everyone was going crazy for digital art? While people were paying insane Ethereum gas fees to mint their pixelated monkeys, clever artists discovered they could do the same thing on Solana for basically free. Projects like Degenerate Ape Academy, Solpunks, and Orrery weren't just copycats. They were genuinely innovative projects that could only exist because of Solana's cheap fees. Then came the DeFi explosion. While Ethereum was choking on its own success with gas fees going through the roof, Solana DeFi protocols like Serum, Radium, and Orca were processing trades for cents instead of dollars. The word started spreading in developer communities. Holy crap, this Solana thing actually works and it's cheap. Magic Eden became a serious competitor to OpenSea. Phantom Wallet exploded in popularity. The entire ecosystem was gaining serious momentum. Chapter 3. The Meteoric Rise. And then came 2021, probably the most insane bull run any cryptocurrency has ever experienced. The numbers are absolutely bonkers. In January 2021, you could buy Sol for around $3. By November 2021, it hit $259. That's an 8,500% increase in less than a year. Let me put that in perspective. $1,000 invested in Solana at the beginning of 2021 would have been worth $85,000 by the end of the year. But it wasn't just the price going crazy. The entire ecosystem was exploding. Total value locked went from basically zero to over $10 billion. Venture capital firms like Andreessen Horowitz and Multicoin Capital threw money at Solana projects like there was no tomorrow. Projects were launching daily, some worth hundreds of millions within weeks. The Solana Summer Hackathon attracted thousands of developers. Mainstream media started calling it the Ethereum killer. At its peak, Solana had a market cap of $78 billion, making it the fourth largest cryptocurrency in the world. This blockchain that nobody had heard of 2 years earlier was suddenly worth more than companies like Ford or FedEx. The hype was absolutely insane. Conferences were selling out. Everyone wanted to build on Solana. It felt like the future of crypto had arrived. Chapter 4. Cracks begin to show. But you know what they say, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And by mid-2021, some serious issues started emerging. First, the network outages. Solana would just completely stop processing transactions for hours at a time. This happened multiple times throughout 2021 and 2022. The team blamed excessive network traffic, but people started asking, if your blockchain can't handle success, is it really ready for prime time? Then there were concerns about centralization. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, where you could run a node on decent hardware, Solana validators required expensive, high-end computers. This meant fewer people could validate the network, making it more centralized than other blockchains. Critics pointed out that Solana had made trade-offs, sacrificing some decentralization and security for speed and low costs. The classic blockchain trilemma in action. But the biggest red flag that nobody saw coming, the concentration of SOL tokens. A huge portion was held by relatively few wallets, and one of the major holders was a trading firm called Alameda Research, run by some guy named Sam Bankman-Fried. Most people ignored these warning signs because the number kept going up. When you're making life-changing money, it's easy to dismiss critics. Chapter 5. The FTX Connection. Now we need to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried, because this is where our story takes a dark turn. By 2021, Sam wasn't just some crypto trader. He was the king of crypto. FTX was the second largest crypto exchange in the world. Sam was worth over $20 billion on paper. He was buying Super Bowl ads and putting his name on the Miami Heat arena. But here's what most people didn't realize. Sam and Alameda Research were massive Solana supporters. They owned hundreds of millions of dollars worth of SOL tokens. Some estimates suggest they controlled nearly 10% of the entire supply. This created a dangerous situation. Sam constantly promoted Solana publicly. FTX was one of the first major exchanges to embrace Solana projects. Alameda provided liquidity for Solana DeFi protocols. As Solana's price went up, Sam got richer. As Sam got richer, he invested more in Solana. This pushed the price up even more. It was like a house of cards built on top of another house of cards. The entire Solana ecosystem was essentially being propped up by this one guy and his companies. But nobody questioned it because Sam was the golden boy of crypto, and everyone was making money. Chapter 6. The Perfect Storm. Then everything went wrong. Everything. The broader crypto market had been declining since late 2021. Terra Luna collapsed in May 2022, wiping out $60 billion overnight. Major crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital went bankrupt, but people still thought FTX was safe. Sam was still making appearances, still tweeting, still acting like everything was fine. Then on November 2nd, 2022, CoinDesk published a bombshell report showing that Alameda Research's balance sheet was mostly made up of FTT tokens, FTX's own exchange token. This was like discovering a bank's assets were mostly its own stock certificates. Changpeng Zhao, CEO of Binance, FTX's biggest competitor, saw blood in the water and announced Binance would sell all their FTT tokens. This was basically declaring war. What happened next was like watching a financial nuclear bomb go off. FTT started crashing hard. People questioned FTX's finances. A bank run began on FTX. FTX started running out of money. The truth emerged. Sam had been using customer deposits to prop up Alameda Research. And remember those hundreds of millions in Solana tokens? They were bought with customer money that was supposed to be safely stored on FTX. November 11th, 2022. FTX filed for bankruptcy. Sam went from crypto billionaire to criminal defendant in less than 2 weeks. The entire empire was obliterated. Chapter 7. Solana's devastation. The Solana ecosystem imploded overnight. Price collapse. SOL crashed from $35 to under $10 in days. From its all-time high of $259, it eventually fell to around $8, a 97% drop. Ecosystem panic. Projects couldn't get funding. Developers abandoned ship. NFT collections became worthless. DeFi protocols lost massive liquidity. Credibility crisis. People questioned everything about Solana. Was the entire rise artificial? How much was propped up by FTX money? Locked. Assets. Billions in SOL tokens were locked up in FTX bankruptcy proceedings, creating massive selling pressure. The network that was supposed to be the future of crypto suddenly looked like a ghost town. Trading volumes plummeted. The vibrant community that had formed around Solana started migrating to other chains. It was brutal to watch. Projects that had raised millions were suddenly worth nothing. Developers who had bet their careers on Solana were scrambling to pivot. Chapter 8. The Aftermath and Lessons. So what can we learn from this absolutely insane story? First, concentration risk is real. When one entity controls too much of an ecosystem, their downfall can take everything with them. Second, technical merit alone isn't enough. Solana genuinely had impressive technology, but that didn't protect it from external shocks. Third, the crypto industry is still incredibly interconnected. What happens to one major player can cascade through the entire space. But here's the thing, Solana didn't die. The network kept running, developers kept building, and slowly, very slowly, it's been recovering. SOL is still trading, projects are still launching, and the technology that made it special in the first place is still there. Whether Solana can fully recover from this disaster remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, this story will go down as one of the most dramatic rises and falls in financial history, and that's the absolutely wild story of how Solana almost broke the crypto industry. From $0 to $78 billion and back down again, taking billionaires and entire ecosystems with it. What do you think? Is this the craziest story in crypto, or have you seen something even more insane? Let me know in the comments below, smash that like button if this blew your mind, and subscribe for more stories that sound too crazy to be true but absolutely are.